Hello, I'm John. The shooting segment for this video is a little bit longer than usual because I had a lot of duds and a lot of hang fires, and that just kind of adds some complexity to things. So I'm going to include a timestamp over here for the actual time when I'm done with that for the rest of the review. Now, I do recommend watching the shooting segment in its entirety so that you can see exactly how annoying it can be to have this many duds and hang fires, and also how substantial the hang fires were. Let's get into the rest of the review. Okay, didn't fire. Strong primer strike. Didn't fire again. Hang fire, 2280. Pretty substantial hang fire too. I anticipated it not to fire. I only brought out 25 of these rounds, so hopefully this is enough to get enough information, but I've only had one actually fire so far out of 5. Hang fire, 2308. Didn't fire. Hang fire, 2347. Didn't fire. Didn't fire again. Substantial hang fire, 2273. Did not fire. Didn't fire again. Failure to fire. 2307. Failure to fire. Failure to fire again. Failure to fire. Failure to fire. Hang fire, 2309. Failure to fire. Hang fire, duplicate 2309. Two, 3, 4, 5. That one actually fired on time. Two, 3, 1, 4. Failure to fire. Two, 3, 5, 9 fired on time. Failure to fire. Two, 3, 3, 3. Let's talk about the velocities first. Of the rounds that I chronographed, the lowest was 2,273 feet per second, and the highest was 2,359 feet per second, with a total deviation of 86 feet per second. Now that's actually pretty decent compared to some of the other ammos that we've tested, so I would say that originally this ammo was manufactured pretty well, since we're getting quite a bit of consistency in that sense. As for how this compares to other ammos that we've tested, it shoots a little bit lighter than some of the other military ammos in this bullet mass category. Now, it is a little bit slower than the Italian ammos and the Yugoslavian ammos, but it's about on par with the PPU ammo tested at the beginning of this series. Now let's talk a little bit more about what might make this ammo unsuitable for you. Now, of the 24 rounds that I have tested, 4% of them, which is one round, fired correctly, where there was no hang fire, no dud, and it fired the first time the striker hit the primer. 42% of those rounds were hang fires, and 50% didn't fire at all. Of all of the rounds that did fire, 17%, a little bit less than 1 in 5, fired on the second primer strike, but failed to fire on the first primer strike. Now, I only had one round that failed to fire on the first primer strike, and fired successfully on the second primer strike without a hang fire. The rest were hang fires. If you've seen the other videos on my channel, you will know that I don't normally do unboxings. However, since this ammo came from Outdoor Limited, which is a legitimate company instead of just some guy on the arms list, I am going to unpackage it. One thing I want to notice is the box is kind of torn up already, but that could have been more UPS's fault than Outdoor Limited's fault. Receipt. All right, I'm just going to cover up my address so you can see what that looks like. And, whoa, this is weird packaging I've never seen before. These little cardboard triangle things. Okay, these rounds are torn up and corroded. Interesting to note. All right, I don't know if this is necessarily Outdoor Limited's fault or if this ammo is just not in very good condition, but we will shoot it anyway and find out. Yeah, all these boxes are just absolutely destroyed. I wasn't planning on filming the unpacking bit right now, but normally I would show everything about the box and the rounds. I don't know if this box is going to last that long, so I'll just talk about how it's packaged right now. So there are 5 rounds in a column and 10 columns or rows. I don't know exactly how you want to look at it. Arabic is sort of a confusing language, but all we need to know for this is that numbers like this are written left to right, how we read, and text is written right to left, which is backwards to how we read. So from the top, this means 438238, and that's probably some sort of lot number, rack number, that type of thing. Then this word means factory 27, and then over here we have 50 standard round 792 millimeter. 792 millimeter is what much of the world calls 8 millimeter. In the US, we call it 8 millimeter. So if I'm going to turn this on its side, and I could not translate all of what this said. However, this up here is 195. This is also 195 and 195. Maybe some of you speak Arabic better than I do. However, Google translated these as envelope, capsule, powder, shell. Powder makes sense, capsule or shell makes sense. However, envelope, I've got no idea. And I could not translate this word for whatever reason. This says 1956, which is the year of production for this ammo. And then this one right here says 199. I don't know what that stands for. Here are some cases. The head stamp says Shubra, which is factory 27. We saw that on the box as well. Then we have 792. And then these characters right here, the 0 looking thing is 50. And then that 7 is the character 6, 1956. You can notice on the brass case that right here, there's some very strong annulling. And that's something we want to see that's going to prevent split cases. Now let's talk a little bit about the bullet mass particularly. Of the 10 bullets that I pulled, the lowest was 197.2 grains and the highest was 197.8 grains. The deviation was 0.6 grains. Actually fairly tight considering some of the others in the category. The average was 197.74. This was actually the tightest ammo in just the bullet mass of any of the other ones that I've tested. So it's fairly consistent. Again, this ammo was originally manufactured fairly well. Here's a picture of some pulled bullets. Since this bullet is almost 200 grains, it is a little bit longer than some of the other bullets that we've seen. And then you can see inside of there that they rounded out the lead on the inside of the projectile. Now, coming from a conversation that we're going to talk about on probably Wednesday, you'll see a video coming up on this. I decided to cut this bullet up, and you can see that it is a bimetal jacket and a lead core. Now, the lead core does not draw a magnet, but the bimetal jacket does. You may ask why this is important, and it's important because when you shoot magnetic ammo, that ammo can spark on certain surfaces like rocks or steel targets, and when that happens, that can cause wildfires. The part of the country that I'm in is smoky right now from wildfires in Colorado, California, and other such places. So if you don't want to start wildfires, if you don't want to cause that kind of mayhem, don't shoot this kind of ammo when it's dry, when there's fire advisories, and especially in just wooded areas. Where I am, I'm careful, but it's not as big of a concern because I live in almost like a desert, where yes, it's dry, but there's not much vegetation that can catch on fire. I also measured the powder when I pulled the bullets. The lowest was 42 even grains, and the highest was 42.4 grains, with a total deviation of 0.4 grains altogether. The average was 42.18 grains. The powder is in flakes, like similar ammos that we've seen. Now, I remember seeing a post a while back where a gentleman was claiming that this ammo was not great because Arabs can't do anything right. Basically, they had to be taught how to do all of these things by Westerners. And I think one thing I've learned in this video is that that's just not true. This ammo was spectacularly manufactured in its day, and it's not who manufactured it, but rather the storage and the almost 70 years of aging that this ammo has gone through. The powder works great, the bullets look great. Really, the only obvious problem is that the primers have gone bad, and that just happens with age, that happens with poor storage. For my opinion, I was a little bit disappointed, first of all, with Outdoor Limited's packaging. I did not like how the box was all destroyed, but that could have been UPS's fault, not Outdoor Limited's fault. And I also wasn't happy with those little triangles. It seems like they cut into the boxes a little bit, and they just didn't really package it very securely. I really want, especially with ammo and collectible ammo, although this ammo wasn't in super collectible condition, I want it to be packaged in a way where it's not going to be sliding around a whole lot. Look at the last video with the Bulgarian ammo. I thought that was packaged very well. The box that this ammo came in was in very rough shape. It was in 3 pieces, plus all the little cardboard indents. You can see through it. I was not a huge fan of that. The ammo, though, appeared to be in good shape. Like, if it was going up on a shelf, the ammo was in fine shape, although the box was destroyed. There wasn't any water damage on the rounds themselves. Altogether, what really ruined this ammo for me was the number of duds that I had. I'm not really too concerned for plinking ammo if I encounter some hang fires, even all hang fires. However, when I get half of the rounds not firing at all, that means that I'm not going to want to buy that ammo for personal use. It's simply not worth it. However, if you're looking for reloading components, all of this ammo except the primer is still in really good shape. So if you just want to take this ammo and reload it, I would highly recommend it for that purpose. Someday I hope to get Egyptian ammo that's in slightly better condition where the box isn't all falling apart, if nothing else for my own personal collection. However, when I do, I'll test that and see if it holds up. But as for now, like, subscribe, and share this video when you see people talking about Egyptian 8mm ammo. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next week.